A frequent changing of vision is often due to the blood sugar going up. When the blood sugar goes up, so your eyeballs shrink down. And then the blood sugar goes down, your eyeballs get bigger again. And as your eyeballs are getting bigger, smaller, because of the fluid changes in the eyeballs, then of course your vision is changing because of that. The size of your eyeballs, of course, is going to affect your vision.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fixed Blood Sugar webinar. We have a whole bunch of people hopping on, so that is awesome. Let us know where you are tuning in from today. Dr. Saunders will be joining us shortly, at least I believe he will. If he doesn't, we're in trouble because we have a really, really good episode today. And I think you guys are going to enjoy it. And I'm curious to see how many of you can relate to some of these things. So today we're going to be talking about if your strange symptoms could actually be type 2. And so in the comments, let us know how you knew or how you...
Uh-oh, where'd she go? You're breaking up.
Oh.
Leslie, you're breaking up a little bit. That's okay. We'll cover it. In the comments, now
let us know.
Okay, gotcha.
Got it.
How you first came to discover that you had type 2. What were your symptoms?
Put it in the comments. Tell us, how did you first discover? Or maybe it wasn't discover, but you wondered, like, I wonder if this is a health problem. And then you found out, like, this is connected to type 2. So you had a good list that you texted us yesterday, Leslie. Maybe you could give a couple examples, maybe, or maybe we'll give people time, but whatever.
Yeah, let me know if I cut out again. I don't know what's going on. I might have to log back in, but today we're going to be talking about just that. There may be some people watching on Facebook. I know we have some people that are joining, and it seems that most everyone is concerned about type 2 these days. They either know someone who has it or they believe they might be pre-diabetic. So this is a really good topic. And so Dr. Saunders is going to chat with us about what are some of those strange symptoms that actually could be type 2. And we're already getting quite a few people here in the comments. Someone said they did an A1C test, and that's how they knew. Someone said blood work. Dwayne said, I started urinating a lot. That is one of them that we've talked about. That's good. Carol said that she had big weight loss. Okay, this is good, guys. Really, really good. Keep them coming. Let us know. Let's see. Someone said they just had blood work and they had just a slight 2 points above, but no symptoms. Very interesting. Let's, Dr. Saunders, would you mind giving us a disclaimer before we begin here?
Okay. The information that we have here is for general use for people who have type 2, ideally. And just because you have type 2 doesn't mean that that specific thing is for you specifically. So what you have to do is take the information that you get here and see if it applies to you. And you may need help of a professional to decide if that's the right thing for you.
Awesome.
Now did he freeze or is I bet my internet is crapping out now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just you, Joe.
Oh man,
we're
you guys
all
are having issues. It's not me, it's you.
This is good. Okay, more people are hopping on. Vila, the Garcias are here. Hello, guys. Today we are talking about the strange symptoms that could possibly be type 2. And so, Dr. Saunders, I'm going to let you go ahead and just take it away and let us know what some of those symptoms are that people often experience that really could be type 2.
Okay, so some of them have already been mentioned, and they're not uncommon. And that's the problem with it, is that a lot of these symptoms are common things that people have for other reasons. And it's not just like that you have type 2. Oh, everybody who gets, has to go to the bathroom frequently as type 2. But frequent urination is a common problem. And so getting up at night, people should sleep through the night and not have to urinate. Some people 2 and 3 and 5 times at night getting up, and they go, oh, that's normal. No, it's not normal. That is something that is an indication that there's something wrong, because when you go to sleep, when you lie down at night, your pituitary gland makes a hormone that shuts off your kidneys and says, shut down, don't make any urine. And so if your kidneys keep making urine, then either your pituitary gland's not working, that's a possibility. And that is a type of diabetes that was the other type of diabetes before type 2, was diabetes insipidus, and that's the pituitary gland not functioning well, or that the kidneys are not listening to the pituitary gland. They're not, the hormone isn't affecting the kidneys the way it's supposed to. So some people are having to urinate frequently, and there's a lot of different reasons why it could happen, but type 2 or diabetes is one of the issues that could be happening. There's a lot of other things. People with just having dry skin, being dry all the time, if you're urinating frequently and your skin is dry, there's a lot of reasons why that could happen. You could have a thyroid imbalance, but you could also have a metabolic imbalance. And so sometimes that's a sign of diabetes, especially if your dry, itchy skin is in your lower extremities, like your legs, like around your ankles. It gets really itchy and dry and you scratch it a lot. And sometimes people even, they create lesions and the lesions don't heal. And that's another sign, is if you have non-healing wounds, if you have wounds, especially in your lower extremities, your feet, and you say, oh yeah, that's been there for months. What? Things are supposed to heal in a couple of weeks, maybe, right? And if they're not healing, then there may be a problem there. Being thirsty all the time. If you're urinating frequently and you're getting rid of all this urine, then you're going to be thirsty more often. So you go, well, I drink a lot, so I pee a lot, but it could be the other way around, is you pee a lot, so you drink a lot. And it can work both ways. So sometimes people have this excessive thirst and they're like, I'm constantly thirsty. Now, diabetes isn't the only reason for that. You might think that people who drink a lot are going to be less thirsty. But actually what happens is they deplete their sodium and potassium, and they actually get more thirsty. And so they drink more, and then they get more thirsty and they drink more. But they're not repleting the electrolytes that are now out of balance. So they're trying to drink to get rid of their thirst, but that's not the problem. The problem is an electrolyte imbalance. So sometimes the excessive thirst is due to that. Also, an unusual symptom, it's not actually that unusual, changing your eyes. Like you go to the eye doctor, you get new glasses, and then by the time your glasses arrive 2 weeks later, your vision has changed already. So you put your new glasses on, that they don't work. So you go back to the eye doctor and they test you again and they say, aha, now your vision is this, and it's changed. And so the frequent changing of vision is often due to the blood sugar going up. When the blood sugar goes up, then there's relatively more what's called osmotic pressure. So your eyeballs shrink down. And then the blood sugar goes down, your eyeballs get bigger again. And as your eyeballs are getting bigger, smaller, because of the fluid changes inside in the eyeballs, then of course your vision is changing because of that. The size of your eyeballs, of course, is going to affect your vision. So that's another one. One of the issues that can often come up in type 2 is sleep issues, especially loud snoring. And the loud snoring has several different possibilities. Diabetes or metabolic syndrome is one of them, but also having a lot of cortisol is adrenal hormones. So excessive adrenal output can cause you to gain weight in areas, especially like around the neck, that can cause you to snore more. But also people that have sleep apnea and snore too much, because of the added stress, they can get diabetes. So they can have diabetes because of the added stress of not sleeping. So it isn't that necessarily one causes the other. It can go both ways in the case of snoring. So that's forgetting things. That is another. Remember that type 3 diabetes is dementia. And so people go, or their wife or their, husband, or, someone close to them is saying, hey, you're forgetting things. Joe said, you forget to put the toilet lid down or something like that. The forgetting things that you usually remember, changes like that. Then you have to consider, why is this happening? Now, there's a lot of reasons, of course, but one of them is a metabolic syndrome or type 2. So, yeah, these are that's not strange at all symptoms, but they're symptoms that could indicate that you have type 2.
Very interesting. We had Aileen say that she had blood in her urine, which completely freaked her out. And that's how she found out and began her journey. And Tom said that he had vision issues, and his vision flipped from near to far, he said. Yeah.
So that's the eyeball shrinking, swelling, getting bigger, smaller, bigger, smaller.
Very interesting. And I think Joe just said he checked his blood sugar right now.
Yeah, just randomly checked my blood sugar and did it on camera. 89, which is actually pretty good for me. So I'm usually over 100.
That's good. 70 to 90 is perfect.
Yeah, mine kind of like is higher in the mornings and then it goes down throughout the day. I don't know.
For those of you in Canada, that would be about 89 would be about 4.5, 4.8, something like that.
Yeah, and I had breakfast. Well, I guess it was like 3 or 4 hours ago. So that's a while ago. But I need to reboot my internet, so I'm gonna pop off. You guys carry on. I'll be back in like 5 minutes.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
Bye.
Let's see. KM said, what about pinching skin every once in a while?
Okay. So this is interesting. It's called tenting. Okay. And that concept of pinching the skin, you have, and you lift up your skin and your skin should pop back pretty well. If it doesn't pop back, that's an indication of dehydration. It also might mean you don't have a lot of elastin in the skin that young people have, and so it pops back right away. So you look at mine and you can see how oh yeah, it goes back pretty well. It's not bad. It doesn't stay tented up. Yeah, yours pops back really easily too, really quickly. Yeah, so that's what they're talking about, and that's sort of a sign of dehydration. If you're if you're urinating frequently and you have this high blood sugar, so your kidneys are just getting rid of fluid like crazy, then you can get that.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Someone says, I have multiple sclerosis, progressive relapsing, and have had solumedrol IV fusions for years when relapses occurred. I was told that the steroids may have caused the rise in sugar. I do not use any sugars except for erythritol or stevia because of family history. So I've always been very cautious about any sugars. Interesting.
Oh, wow, that's tough. Yeah, the multiple sclerosis, especially if they have you on steroids. Yeah, that's an awful position to be in. I'm sorry. Okay, so what can we do about that? There's a pretty good book. It's called the Walls Protocol, WAHLS, and it's a doctor who she was very active. She was like a karate champion, and she had kids, and she's riding bikes, and she's doing stuff, and she's a medical doctor, right? And she got multiple sclerosis, and she ended up in a wheelchair, like, going around with, her head held up, and all of this stuff. And she tried all the drugs, they didn't work, and she went to a integrative doctor and took a whole bunch of supplements, and she said it stopped progressing, but it didn't get better. And so she went on this protocol for diet protocol, where within a year she was getting better. She was getting back to normal. Now she's normal. I saw her a lecture. She gave a great lecture, and she's doing really well. So that's something to consider. Read that book, The Walls Protocol, and look into that, because if you're needing steroids, that's not a good sign. Yes, and the answer to your question is yes, steroids do induce high blood sugar and then insulin resistance as well. Yes, they do.
Interesting. Okay. I also posted a link to Terry Ball's website where they talk about the diet, the book, all of that kind of stuff. So you can see that. Let's see here. Bilo and Barbie, we both had similar symptoms. We both had blurred vision or changing vision, tired all the time, urinating frequently, especially at night, numbness, and no energy. Not anymore.
See, those are those that I didn't. Fatigue, numbness, tired all the time. Those are symptoms I didn't mention. Those are common problems with diabetes. And sometimes it's the first, even before the blood sugar goes up, you can already have numbness of your feet. So yeah, that can be a first sign. That's important. Thank you.
Awesome. And then they said, because of our belief in this program and the supplements, this is no longer an issue. And they said, God bless
Yay.
us. So, yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Yay.
Okay. Scott says, are all supplements, herbs, etc., a waste of money?
No, the answer is all of them are not a waste of money. So now it behooves each one of us to decide which supplements we need and which ones we don't need. So the three supplements I talked about that everybody should be taking, vitamin D, and selenium and iodine. Because why? Because they're not in the food. So you got to get them somehow. And yes, you can get vitamin D out in the sunshine, and that's fine too. But because we wear clothes and put sunscreen on, and we don't go out in the sun very much and put hats on, and the people just don't get enough sunshine to get vitamin D. So it's reasonable to supplement that. And that's the way it's always been anyway. So those three supplements, I think that would be something that everybody should take. Beyond that, it depends on what your issues are. So we make supplements, right? We sell supplements, things like Synachroma. And Synachroma has everything that a type 2 diabetic could possibly need or be deficient in. so that the energy system, especially the glucose system, can function properly. And then we have another supplement called Nervala. And if you've listened to our program, you've heard people call up or write in and say, I had neuropathy until I took Nervala. The Nervala has completely wiped it out. So the answer to your question is no, supplements are not all worthless. But for heaven's sakes, most supplements that are taken are worthless.
You heard it here first, guys. All right. Let's see. I did see some notes about supplements in here. I'm going to go through some more of these questions. One thing I did want to mention, I'm going to post a link, guys, to our Home Cures That Work website. This is something a lot of you may not know about. Actually, Dr. Saunders, would you mind just telling us a little bit about Home Cures That Work and what your role is with that?
Yeah. Home Cures at Work is a monthly magazine, like a newsletter, a monthly magazine. And it is topics, it's health topics. And there's recipes in there, and there's things to do. And sometimes, people don't realize that a health topic is going to be beneficial to them. So a few months ago, I wrote an article that was on glaucoma. And there were so many people that go, oh my gosh, I just went to my doctor and who I was told I had glaucoma. I didn't know I could do this. And so the idea of Home Cures That Work is I'm looking for things that people can do at home that will reverse or cure or improve some kind of health issue or health problem that may come up.
I was just looking at it the other day. Let's see, and I think you had written something about LDN, low dose naltrexone.
Very good.
And I found it very interesting. Is there any, you guys will have to check it out. It's on the website. You can see it. But is there any benefit to type 2 diabetics?
There might be. And that's the thing about low dose naltrexone. Naltrexone is a drug, and it's an opiate drug, and it's a blocker of morphine. And so the idea behind it is that you have this morphine blocker, and you make your own endorphins that are endogenous morphine. And so you're blocking your own endorphins when you take this drug. And so your brain says, hey, we need some more endorphins. So if your problems like diabetes are related to stress and you're not making enough endorphins, low dose naltrexone can be amazing and it can be really useful. But it isn't for everyone. In fact, in most studies, it works really well in about 20% of people. It works okay in about 50% of people. And the rest just go, I don't notice any difference at all. Why? Because their endorphin system is working well. And so that's not the issue. It's kind of funny, that our bodies have different systems for doing different things. And there's overlap. So the endorphin system overlaps with the endocannabinoid system, which is the marijuana, the THC, CBD, all of that. And there's a little overlap, but some people find the low dose naltrexone works really well, but the cannabinoid doesn't do anything at all. And other people, it's the other way around. So it's one of those things that you just have to try.
I think you wrote about there was a way to test to see if your endorphins work properly, or I can't remember what you had said. Just a way to know if this might be a good option for you. There was some type of a test you could do.
A test if you're.
No, it was literally like I don't know. I'll have to read it. Actually, you guys all read it. Home Cures That Work. I posted the link. Really good information. And I'm probably going to send some messages to Dr. Saunders after this because I feel like I need it. So, all right. Anyway, so really good site, Home Cures That Work. It's posted there, you guys. You got to check it out. And especially
you mean like trying something out? Okay. So let's say you take an opiate medication, like you have a pain medication like codeine
That's
or
what it was.
hydrocodone
Yes.
or something like that, and you say, "Wow, what a difference!" Then avoid that and start using no-dose naltrexone so you can make your own
Yes.
endorphins.
Yes, that's
Right.
what it was. I couldn't remember, but yeah. I think if it helped you to relax or you
Right.
felt really good afterward, then that was how you
Right.
knew you weren't creating enough on your own.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting. Body's just amazing. We learned so much from Dr. Saunders. So if you just can't get enough of Dr. Saunders and his teaching, you can go to YouTube to watch all of our webinars. So you go to bartonwebinar.com, you'll find the link to YouTube. And then you can go to Home Cures That Work and read all the things. So, I mean, you can literally get an education for a lifetime using those two sites. So, okay. Good stuff. Let's find some more questions here. The Garcia's blood test, Velo 94, Barbie 104. Did you just test yourself right now? That's what your numbers were?
That's good.
You guys,
Woo-hoo.
seriously, they are just crushing it. Oh,
Dr.
so
Saunders, what would yours be right now if you tested?
Well, considering I'm fasting, it would probably be somewhere between 70 and 90.
Yeah.
Like,
he's fasting again, guys. Oh, it's always fasting.
How are you feeling, by the way? It's been a couple weeks now.
Yeah, a couple weeks. I'm feeling a little better, but if you've noticed, I still have a little cough.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm fasting today, because I want to get rid of that cough, get rid of the inflammation.
Yeah.
Or would LDN be a good option for you?
I don't know. I haven't tried any like codeine or morphine or hydrocodone or anything to see if I get any benefit from that.
I think it said something about inflammation too. So that's the only reason that I said that. Okay. Okay. Scott says I tried bitter melon, chromium, and berberine, etc. Okay. And Scott, I think you were the one that had asked if all the supplements were a waste of money. So that's funny. But it looks like you are using good supplements. We talk a lot about those. So Krish says 2 days. Oh, go ahead.
The point of supplements is as a help, but don't look at supplements like a drug. They're not going to like fix your problem unless that's your particular problem. So if you have diabetes because you're deficient in chromium and you take chromium, boom, all of a sudden you're all better. And you go, wow, everybody should do this. No, because everybody doesn't have your problem. That was your problem. So that's why we have the diabetes solution kit. The book is to help you to actually detox off of it, and that's how you're going to really improve long term is the detox program, and that's what the diabetes solution kit is.
Yes, and I get a lot of emails from people who are saying, "What supplements can I take to reverse my type 2?" And this is where Dr. Saunders, when people come into his office, this information is what he recommends as well. So the diabetes solution kit, is it backward for you guys?
No.
Okay.
That's right.
So bartonwebinar.com, you'll find more information about this, but this is where you start. Everyone says, where do I start? I've heard you talk about the different phases. I don't know what you're talking about. Well, it's all in this. This is the beginning. So bartonwebinar.com will lead you to information about the diabetes solution kit. Yes, the supplements behind me, lots of great supplements, of course. But like he said, start here. Okay. All right. Just had to do my little teaching moment there, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. What other messages do we have here, Krish? 2 days ago, my fasting blood sugar was 98. That's amazing. Okay, 2 questions.
Wow, Krish, perfect.
Yeah. Number 1, at what stage do gut complications ensue? That's the first question.
Okay. So that goes back probably to when we first started. What kind of, when people have diabetes, do they get gut complications? It's not necessarily a stage. It can work both ways. You can have gut problems And because of the gut problems, you can get resistant to insulin and have and gain weight and have all those issues with diabetes. It also works the other way around. If you have diabetes and your blood sugar is high all the time, it can change your intestinal flora and give you gut problems. So it can work both ways.
Okay. And then the next question from Krish is, what does taurine do for type 2 diabetics?
Okay, so taurine is an amino acid, and it's a very important amino acid, and it's part of a lot of course, a lot of proteins and enzymes and all of that. Specifically, taurine is important for lowering stress. A lot of people, because it makes a hormone called GABA, gamma-aminobutyric acid, it's kind of important for having that calming effect, allowing people to sleep. So if it lowers stress, then it can be very helpful. But if that's not your issue, then you can take all the taurine you want. It's not going to fix your diabetes, right? So it's not the answer so much as, you might try that and see if that helps.
All right. Okay. Let's see. Tom says, I am considered type 2. I woke up and took my blood sugar and it was at 74, which is a great number for me.
Perfect.
That is a great number. I went for almost a 3-mile walk and only drank water. I retook my blood sugar upon my return and it was 144. What happened? And any advice?
Okay, we get this question a lot because there's a ton of factors that are involved in what your blood sugar is. It's not all about, I eat this, my blood sugar goes up. Remember, your cells are using sugar on a constant basis, and some are using more or some are using less. So you go out for a walk, and because you went out for a walk, your blood sugar was normal, but on the low side in the 70s, right? So now you're walking and your muscle cells open up and go, we need more sugar. So they start sucking sugar in. So what happens? Well, your blood sugar starts dropping lower. It gets into the 60s. So then what happens? Well, then your pancreas goes, oh my gosh, we need more sugar. And you're not eating any sugar. So you release a whole bunch of glucagon, and that tells your liver, make more sugar. So the liver starts pumping out sugar. So now your blood sugar's 120. What the heck? How did it get to be 120? Well, because your liver's making it, because you're exercising and your muscles are needing sugar and your sugar's low. So all of those factors that are involved affect how your blood sugar is at any given moment. There's a lot. There's a lot to it. It's much more than that. There's all kinds of incretins and peptides and all these hormones that are acting on how your blood sugar is. You know what? Trying to guess what's going on. Okay, I made a guess, but we don't know.
Okay. Diotha says, I found out when I started having pain. So she found out this is when diabetes started. Starting from my fingers and ran up to my shoulders, lasting of close to a minute. It would start out with mild pain and continue to extreme pain on just one side of my body. It would happen when I was alone and there was no one there to help me. Scary. Wow,
that's pretty scary. And that's how she found out she has diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's neuropathy. Yeah, that's an autonomic nervous system neuropathy. It's on one side of the body. Ooh, that's hard.
We have another comment here that says, my blood sugar is controlled and I am losing weight. What can I do to gain some weight without raising my blood sugar?
Yeah, we get that question sometimes because some people don't want to lose weight. So what you need to know then is what your insulin level is, how your pancreas is functioning, because if you don't make insulin, and I've seen this several times. I had 2 patients in yesterday, and they were like, okay, my blood sugars are better. I'm in the low 100s, but I'm losing weight and I don't want to lose any more weight. And so I tested their insulin level, and they were really low, like 2.5 or 3.0. So with the insulin level being that low, you can't put on weight because it requires insulin to get the sugar and amino acids into the cells, including the fat cells. So without insulin, it's not going to happen. So in some cases, people take a little extra insulin. They might give themselves a long-acting once-a-day shot of insulin to keep the blood sugar normal and to prevent them from losing weight. So if the pancreas isn't making enough insulin, that may be an issue.
Okay. Let's see. Lots of good questions. Dwayne says, I take 2 types of insulin, long lasting, 5 grams at night, and 15 grams of fast insulin every time I eat. I also take metformin, Jardiance, and glipizide. I'm going to ask a question in there. Is it normal to take all 3 of those?
They should not be given together, but they often are.
Okay.
All 4 of them, including the insulin. So all of those
yes.
should not be used together.
Interesting. Okay. The question is, I weigh 165 and I'm slim built. I ordered the product Glucofort. Will it help me? I don't know anything about Glucofort. Maybe you do.
Glucofort is an herbal a supplement. It's kind of similar to Synachroma. It's got a lot of nutrients in it to help you use the sugar more efficiently. So you're thin. What that usually means is you don't make enough insulin. So you may just need insulin. You just may need injections of insulin or have an insulin pump. As the first thing I would do in your kind of a case, remember this is general information, not for you specifically. First thing I would do is I would test the pancreas. And all the pancreas tests. So you want to know what your insulin level is. You want to know what your C peptide level is. You want to know if you have insulin antibodies. You want to know if you have islet cell antibodies. And there's also a G65. So you get the antibody general tests, the group of tests. So you want to know your pancreas function. So once you know your pancreas function, if your insulin is 30 or 50 or something like that, that's a very different problem from someone whose insulin is 2 or 3 and their say C peptide is down below 0.5. Those are completely different problems, and they require completely different solutions. So that's why I can't tell you what the problem is. What you need is testing. So first you test your insulin, and then if you find you have low levels of insulin, then the next step is to get a continuous glucose monitor, CGM, go off. And I can't tell you to go off medications, but darn it, the ones you're taking, the pills you're popping probably aren't really good for you. And then if you need insulin, just use the insulin, and then do the diabetes solution kit, so that you can have a stable blood sugar and use the minimum amount of insulin that you could possibly use. And that's the ideal way to go. Those CGMs are awesome. Continuous. I was thinking, man, I'm going to get one of those, but that would just be for interest. But
are they easier to get now? I know for a while they were kind of difficult to get.
Yeah, they were hard to get. Like if you weren't injecting insulin 3 times a day, they wouldn't give you one, kind of thing. Now they're a little easier to get. In fact, they're allowing people to buy them now. So it used to be if you didn't have insurance covered, then they wouldn't supply it, but now they're supplying it.
Okay. Let's see, we have a question here on Facebook. Rosa says, I've been on insulin for over 5 years. The past year after I eat, my sugars go into the 20s. I was told I have 2 cysts in my pancreas, and now my pancreas is shrinking. Could this be the reason I'm insulin resistant now? My A1C was 11. I worked out for a month with my trainer. I lost no weight and my sugar levels are still high. I did not gain any strength. Is this due to my diabetes being out of control? Should I get off insulin to lose the weight?
Oh, okay. So here's another issue. So this is the other side of that same, the previous one, where you have an issue of how is the pancreas functioning? So if you have a cyst on your pancreas, does that mean your pancreas doesn't function? Not necessarily. You could have insulin resistance for other reasons. You could have antibodies, for example. It's one of the things that needs to be tested is, do you have islet cell antibodies? Do you have insulin antibodies? And is your pancreas putting out a whole bunch of insulin? And then what? Well, then you have to deal with each problem as it comes up so that you know what you're doing. So the way you're doing it now, it doesn't make sense because you're not getting stability. Your blood, your hemoglobin A1C of 11, that's really high. Blood sugar's going up to 20 for people who don't know. That's well in the 200s for people who are from the United States. So that instability means that you haven't found the right problem. You're not solving the right problem. So testing. The next thing you need is testing. You're still muted.
I know. Okay. Olive is asking, how do I check my blood sugar at home? The doctor didn't want to order that lab test.
Check your blood sugar at home. You can get over the counter. You can get monitors now. You can just walk into Walmart and pick up a monitor. Those are easy to get.
I kind of wonder if maybe not the blood sugar. Maybe he doesn't mean the blood sugar.
The other tests, like the insulin tests and
could be
and C-peptide and all this. Yeah. There are some labs, depends what state you're in, but there's a lab now that is any lab, and you can just go online and they'll send you a kit and you get your blood drawn, send it out, and they'll do any lab for you and you can pay for it. But I don't know, they're not that much.
Or maybe, this person maybe doesn't have type 2 and is just curious and has never even thought about checking their blood sugar. So maybe that's the case. And so can you just go anywhere and get testing strips and do it yourself?
Yeah. You can do those finger stick home ones. You can go anywhere and get them now.
Yep. All right. Okay, let's see. So many good questions. Oh, someone had commented, they can see behind me the magnesium spray. When do we use that?
Well, magnesium is a common deficiency and it's really important for blood sugar. And it's really important for the proper utilization of sugar in the body for energy. So make sure you get enough magnesium. And if you're not getting it in your diet by eating greens, anything the color green is green because it has magnesium in it. If you're not getting nuts and seeds and whole grains, then then you may supplement magnesium, and you can use the spray every single day, and you can't overdose with the spray, which is one of the reasons we chose that.
All right. Okay, Greg says, speaking of the book, help, I'm confused with carb load in the cookbook. Leslie's recipe for eggs and vegetables and coconut oil states 4.3 grams of carbs with 1 cup of veggies, but chapter 4 states half a cup of veggies equals 5 grams. So 1 cup equals 10 grams.
Half a cup equals.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure that I understand exactly. I mean, I maybe if I look through this, I could figure it out. But check the veggies that you're using is what I would say. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, it does kind of depend on what you're using, I guess, for vegetables. They do have different carb counts. And then you also want to make sure that these are net carbs. So you're taking the carb minus the fiber, and that gives you your net carbs, just so we're clear. I'm not totally sure if I know exactly what you're asking, but just double check the veggies that you're using and see what it says, when you purchase those, see how many carbs it says, or you can Google them often to see how much it is. Any other comments on that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking is the difference between the total carbs versus net carbs, and total carbs with vegetables is always going to be a lot, but your net carbs is often going to be a much smaller amount, depending, of course, on the vegetable.
Yes. Okay, great question here from Mary. Mary says that her friend is using berberine with her metformin and Ozempic. Is that how
Ozempic?
Yes, it is. Okay. To lower her blood sugar. Is this safe or not? As I do not want to do something that could make my blood pressure meds get wonky.
Yes.
That isn't exactly what she said. I interpreted what she said. She didn't say wrong.
Okay.
I added that.
Okay. So yes, it's safe. These medications are not going to, and berberine are not going to drop you below normal blood sugar. They're not going to stop your pancreas from producing glucagon, for example. They're also not going to make you cause you to make excessive insulin that's going to drop your blood sugar too low. So that's usually the safety issues surrounding them. And so, yeah, they're fine. They can be used together. But remember, either the medications or the supplements are not the answer. That this isn't going to fix the problem. Those are really just helps as you're getting along in the diabetes solution kit. So doing the program is really detoxing is the most important part of it, not taking supplements.
Okay, this may be a question Joe can help to answer as well. This is from Don. Since your Heart Healthy Kit speaks to proper supplements, except when fasting, and makes a recommended minimum, why doesn't Barton Publishing offer a package with these supplements and doses?
That is a great idea, and it's on our list. Thanks for the reminder. Good idea. Great idea.
Let's see, it says, in the absence of that, what about citing references, especially when I cannot maybe get D-ribose in the liquid form mentioned? Also, maybe saying where you can get those things. Is that maybe what the question is? I'm not totally sure. Okay. What else do we have? Okay, Joseph says, how many milligrams of chromium should be taken?
10 milligrams, like 200 micrograms a day is adequate, plenty. About 1 milligram a week is really good. I look at things in terms of weekly doses if possible, because it's often better to take more, a little less frequently than the tiny amount every single day. Yeah.
All right. Is taking regular fiber and lots of veggies with fiber good?
Yes. In fact, okay. So you can overdose on anything, right? You can overdose on water. And we talk about diabetes type 2 as being essentially an overdose or toxicity of carbohydrates and fats and proteins, right? The one thing you cannot overdose on, it looks like, is fiber. Because when you go into areas where they eat really high fiber, like they're eating 100 grams of fiber a day, they're better than people who eat 40 grams of fiber a day, which is better than people who eat 20 grams of fiber a day. It's like that's the one thing that you cannot overdose on. So probably, I don't know about this, but probably taking only one source of fiber, and that's all, and taking huge amounts of one source of fiber, okay, you're going to get diarrhea. But if you have a broad spectrum, like you said, yeah, I can take fiber greens, and I can eat vegetables, and I can eat fruit. And is that too much fiber? No, because it's a variety of fiber, and I think the variety is really important too.
I love this. We had another comment right after that. It says, I believe in the diabetes solution kit, but I'm having a difficult time with the foods because I'm vegan. The blood sugar is still out of control. It was fantastic while fasting, but I really like to eat.
Don't we all? Yeah. Yeah.
Dr.
Okay.
Saunders did, I think, an entire year as a vegan. Is that right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
A year, 1 year. So the diabetes solution kit, we have all the free foods in there, and the free foods are essentially all the vegan foods. So you can have as much broccoli as you want, and cabbage and lettuce and salads and all that stuff. And so if you're vegan, yeah, it's a little difficult because you can't get your rice, and you're not going to have oatmeal, just because you can't get enough of it on this 20-gram carbohydrate diet. So there's two things you can do if you're vegan. One is to use the free foods all the time, and just limit the amount of things you eat to the vegetables and the few fruits that you could have with it. You can have avocados. That's a fruit, right? And tomatoes, but you're not going to have a lot of pineapple and watermelon, right? So because your 20 grams is going to be eaten up really quickly. So that's one way to do it, is just eat the free foods and do that. The other way to do it is not not in the diabetes solution kit. It is the Mastering Diabetes program. It's a book that you can get called Mastering Diabetes, and it's written by two young men that have type 1 diabetes. But if you're vegan, it works really well, and that is the other possibility. So either of those are okay.
Okay. We had a message in here from Bonita, who said that she had her best day in months. And then we have a couple other notes from her. My best numbers ever over a 24-hour period: 7.3 fast, 8.3 after breaking fast, 6.6 after supper, was 6.8 this morning. I supplement with Cinechroma, turmeric, BP, Nervala, and Healthy Gut for 5 weeks now. I am totally weaned off of metformin, and my neuropathy is reversing.
Wow, great.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Bonita, I would love to hear more about this. Would you mind emailing me, Leslie@bartonpublishing.com? I'd love to hear more about this. And someone else had asked for a list of tests. Again, guys, you can email me, Leslie@bartonpublishing, and I'll type that in the chat. This is so cool. I'm happy for you, Bonita. That's amazing. Okay, we're running out of time.
Lots of good questions.
I know. Okay, Victoria says, I take insulin 2 times a day and the tips of my fingers are turning black. What do I do to make the color go away?
Okay, the tips of your fingers are turning black. Is that because of a lack of circulation? It's like they get that kind of blue black color. If that's happening, that's Raynaud's phenomenon, and that needs to be dealt with on a different level. That's not due to diabetes specifically. That may need a different thing. So if they're turning, I don't know why they're turning black. That's the question. If it's lack of circulation, then that's Raynaud's. So look up Raynaud's, Raynauds, and that's a nervous system. It's an autonomic nervous system disorder.
All right, I'm not able to respond to people on Facebook right now, so apparently they're mad at me. So Rosa, those tests are mentioned in the book. You can also email me as well. And then Rosalind says, Dr. Saunders, I went for a follow-up with my doctor. My A1C is 7.5 and they increased my injections from 24 to 30. I also take Ozempic, which went from 1 to 2. The injection is only once a day, but when I took it, I later felt funny, like exhausted, not able to concentrate and just weird. I'm taking my Synachroma. I'm doing intermittent fasting. Is there anything else I can do? Do you have any other suggestions? Rosalind says, how do you eat nuts and not pass your 20 grams of carbs? I'm told to eat beans, nuts, and more fruit. And then on the other hand, I'm told to watch your fruit. Don't eat nuts because of diverticulitis. Then you're told to don't eat tomatoes or cucumbers because they cause arthritis. What's the truth? We might as well not eat.
I know, right? Okay, so remember, you can't get too much fiber, so that's okay. Some doctors that were trained 30 years ago were told that you shouldn't eat nuts and seeds if you have diverticulosis. Because it can cause diverticulitis. That's actually been proven wrong. So just make sure you tell your doctor to read the current literature, because that's old information. Because actually the research showed just the opposite, that those who have diverticulosis have less diverticulitis if they eat more nuts and seeds. Remember, fiber is the #1 most important thing. So, and then as far as carbs go, it's choices, and that's the key here. Is what can you choose, like, instead of a high carb fruit? Can you eat a low carb vegetable, or a low carb fruit? Have an avocado, or a green pepper. Because those are really low in carbs compared to something like an apple or an orange, right? So that you can limit that carb intake and not use up all 20 grams with one fruit, right? So yeah, those are choices that you make. You might as well not eat. I don't know. Sometimes I say that. Sometimes I get home and look around and I go, gosh, yeah, there's nothing here I can eat. Okay, I might as well not eat. I've done that at restaurants where I go out with people and I look on the menu, there's nothing here I can eat. I might as well not eat.
There are recipes in the diabetes solution kit. This is what we mention all of the time, or, when we're talking about reversing your type 2, we're talking about the diabetes solution kit. So this is a really good place to get your basic information. But what you'll find is that the people who are now moving on, who've been doing this, who are now in phase 2, phase 3, they're able to kind of make their own recipes based on what they've learned in this. They know what works for them. They know what foods they enjoy, etc. And so someone had asked, what's your go-to site for carbs? And I think they're asking, how do you know how many carbs are in certain foods, which is probably just a quick little, just Google search, carb count of broccoli, you can probably type in your,
but Google does that and it pops right up.
So, yeah, it's super easy to do now. But the other thing that I think some people might be interested in, and some of you maybe could share, if you know, do you have a place that you go where you like to look for low carb recipes? Share that in the chat. That might be helpful for some other people. Or maybe you are a vegan, and you found a really great resource for low carb vegan options. Or you can share your story with how things are going for you. You know, we really want this to be a community where you guys can share with each other. And so if we run out of time here and you want to share, go to the Barton Webinar Facebook group. It's a private group, but I will add you to it, and share information there, because we're all in this together. Everyone's journey is a little bit different, but we can still help each other. So let's utilize our friends and relationships here, because we can all help each other. So I think, do I have any other questions here? Let me check. Anything else you want to add, Joe, today?
No, it's been great. Lots of really good questions, lots of good interaction, and yeah, I got nothing to add.
All right, Don, I see a message from you. I'm going to pass that along here. Making sure I didn't miss anything else. Okay, Dr. Saunders is going to go be with his patients. So we so appreciate you, Dr. Saunders, doing this week after week. It's just awesome. We're learning so much. And you better go be with your patients. They're blessed to have you today. So thank you again. We will see you next week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. I'm just going to look. All right, guys, if you haven't gone to bartonwebinar.com, there is a link to our YouTube channel. We're behind a little bit on some of the uploads, but I got a bunch of them yesterday, so I'll be able to upload them soon, and you'll be able to catch up. There are like 140 some webinars that we have done talking about type 2. So if you are fairly new around here and you have questions, you're probably going to find a past webinar where we address those things. So we do this every week. And so there's a lot of information that's been shared, and I think you'll just be blessed if you go there. So check that out, and we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thanks for all of your amazing questions.
Yeah, very good. My internet's still having issues, so sorry.
No problem.
Bye, everyone. We'll see you next time. God bless.
Bye-bye.